I'm what you might call an MMO nomad. While Elder Scrolls Online has been my primary MMO for many years, there's never been a time where I wasn't also spending hours in another MMO alongside it. I've spent a great deal of time playing Guild Wars 2, Lord of the Rings Online, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV, Old School RuneScape, RuneScape 3, Dark Age of Camelot, Neverwinter back in the day, Albion Online, and if you even want to stretch the term MMO a little bit, Fallout 76. There's probably a lot of others that I've played that I'm not even remembering at this point. While my time spent in each of these games varies, Guild Wars 2 has been my second most played MMO by far, with Fallout 76 probably right behind it. I mention all of these to set the stage and make it clear that I'm no stranger to trying out new MMOs. I just love the genre. I love people hanging out in a region or global chats and just chatting about anything while also chipping away at a quest or the next level up. There's a trope that MMO players love playing solo together, and I think there's a lot of truth in that, and I also don't think it's a bad thing. A community of players that exist within the same shared experience and world is what separates the MMO genre from other multiplayer games. And that's the fundamental promise of an MMO, isn't it? Players coexisting in a shared world, interacting, discovering, exploring, or even helping each other out. It's the idea that you can forge your own path in the world, and if you want to be a PvP player, go ahead. If you want to explore dungeons, go ahead. And if you want to spend your days crafting and gathering, you can do that too. But how many MMOs truly deliver on that promise? How many MMOs truly invoke a sense of discovery and exploration, or feel like having other players alongside you matters, even if you're not really engaging in the same content together? That answer will vary based on the person and their preference, and I believe that all MMOs that are worth a damn succeed in their own ways, but it felt like there was always such an opportunity missing to push the genre somewhere new, somewhere that really truly leans into the concept of playing together with others and what kind of opportunities that could open up for a community that shares that same world. As I said, I've played a lot of MMOs. Maybe I haven't played your favorite, and by all means, let me know what that is in the comments so I can check it out. But in my experience, across all the MMOs that I have played and enjoyed, I don't think any other MMO has come close to capturing the promise of what an MMO could be like Project Gorgon has. Allow me to explain. At its core, Project Gorgon is a tab-targeting MMO, and it would lean closer to being a sandbox than a theme park if you're putting it somewhere on a gradient between those 2 points. A sandbox MMO, for those who aren't familiar, is one that has very little direction and very little in the way of things that you must do based on your level or however the game wants you to move forward. A theme park MMO is one that is a bit more like World of Warcraft or Lord of the Rings Online, where generally you move from zone to zone and from quest giver to quest giver along a general set path, taking you from point A to point B. So between those 2 points, Project Gorgon exists a little bit further onto the sandbox MMO side. But to describe Project Gorgon as only a tab-targeting MMO that's a sandbox design does a major disservice to the game. It has tab-targeting combat, yes, but it's built around a system of combat skills where you choose one skill to be your primary and another to be your secondary, essentially creating your own unique class. For me, I went with fire magic and knife fighting because I wanted to be able to set enemies on fire at a distance, but I also wanted to have an option to stab them when they got close. It was also the closest I could get to being Gandalf with his staff and sword, and I just think that that's cool. Was this combination meta? Who's to say? But because of the game's random loot system, I started getting drops that focused on improving both my fire magic and knife fighting skills. So at the end of the day, the game adapted to me, and how I chose to engage with it, and it gave me fun things that I could equip. And what's more exciting about this combat system is that you don't actually have access to all of them in the beginning. I only learned fire magic because I helped out an NPC in town, and he offered to start training me. And I only learned the knife fighting skill because I went out and explored, and found another NPC that let me learn it. It's that exact thing that Project Gorgon does so well, and what I realized I was missing so much from other MMOs. It's this intersection of gameplay systems that makes an MMO feel so deep and gets you wanting to keep engaging with it. This is something that RuneScape figured out years ago. By exploring, I leveled up my cartography skill, making me better at exploring the world. By interacting with NPCs found during that exploration and doing quests for them or giving them gifts, I raised my favor with them. By raising favor with NPCs, they then offered to buy and sell things to me, including training services for new skills. And by getting these new skills, I'm given the freedom to explore different combat skill combinations, and by exploring these different combinations, the loot flexes to meet me at my level, encouraging me to keep doing what I find fun, in turn, gives me the equipment that benefits me. And it's worth noting that the loot given doesn't simply raise your damage output, as damage is almost entirely determined by your level in the combat skill. Instead, the equipment you pick up adds passive buffs to things like your health, armor, inventory size, or specific skill effects. While I've not gotten one yet, I have heard that some equipment effects can even turn single target abilities into an AoE. So you engage in finding this randomly generated loot through combat, but also by raising affinity with NPCs, you can buy and sell equipment to them, and also buy equipment sold to them by other players, and see if there's anything there that fits your character. I've gotten quite a few upgrades this way, and it kind of feels like thrift shopping in all the best ways. It's a loop that is always focused on you, the player, being able to do what you want, and it'll bend in order to make sure you continue feeling like you are the one in control, and all the systems in the game coincide in some way so that it never feels like you're wasting time leveling up something that doesn't matter. Beyond combat skills, there's also an insane number of non-combat related skills. I've mentioned cartography, but there's also assessment, which you level up by inspecting other players. Leveling this up lets you learn more about other people on inspection. There's compassion, where burying a dead body or performing other compassionate acts grants experience, and in turn grants bonus levels to other skills like first aid and meditation. There's a skill for vocabulary I found because I picked up a word game item, and it lets me play a mini game against other players and NPCs where you try to make as many words as possible from a single word. It's actually really fun, and it levels up a skill. Even dying is a skill. By dying in unique ways, you gain experience, and leveling this up grants bonuses to your HP and, from what I gather, some other skills as well. There is, of course, also the traditional skills, such as gathering, cooking, etc. But while these skills may be more traditional, they still intersect other skills and systems in fun ways. For example, while I can learn to get better at cooking, the food I make could be eaten by me to improve my gourmand skill and gain temporary stat buffs, or I could give the gift to an NPC, thus raising my favor with them. Both options are good, and it's up to me how I want to engage with these systems and what I feel is a better use for the item that I crafted. And while I've spent a great deal of time talking about skills, the game isn't entirely based around them. There's a main questline for you to follow along, and you'll be absolutely flooded with NPC favors to work on. These are sort of like side quests. So while Project Gorgon is closer to a sandbox MMO, it also ensures you have quests and tasks that you can work towards. And even simple quests like kill 5 dinosaurs can be made all the more interesting when you stumble on a puzzle down in the crypts where you're fighting these dinosaurs, and now you're down here looking for the solution. And the game is full of these little puzzles, riddles, or even math questions for you to find, and resolving them is always worth it in some way, giving you XP or actual item rewards. They also encourage you to take advantage of the game's built-in note-taking ability, where you have various tabs that you can label and fill with whatever information seems relevant to you. You can craft or find things called words of power, and you're told you need to write them down, and probably what the effect does, as it's not an item that gets stored in your inventory initially. It just is a word that you can type into the in-game chat, and when your character speaks it, you gain the effect. So this is really fun to see people in chat type out a word in the nearby chat lobby, and all of a sudden you know, oh, they've got some kind of really cool effect that just happened. I think the best way I could describe it is that for almost every traditional MMO feature that Project Gorgon has, it found a way to surprise me with it. And not always by changing things for the sake of change. And sometimes really not even by changing some of it at all, but just by utilizing it in some way that feels like I'm engaging with the game, the world, and the players and the NPCs more than I have in any other MMO that I've played. You've probably already got this figured out by the footage, but what Project Gorgon isn't is pretty. It's a rough-looking game. The graphic fidelity is low to mid, the art direction can be a bit uninspired, and the animations are awkward and stiff. It's simply not a very appealing game to look at in most situations. While games like RuneScape also don't have high-fidelity graphics, it makes up for it in art direction being super consistent and unique to itself, along with really charming music to tie it all together. Project Gorgon doesn't quite have that, unfortunately. But I would urge anyone with a passing interest in MMOs to really give this game a shot. It has a free demo that lets you go through the tutorial island and explore the entire first zone, and take any skill up to 15, which is quite a significant chunk of game. And your character continues into the full game if you decide to purchase it. There's no mandatory subscription, no daily login rewards, no in-game shop, no alternative currencies. It's just a genuine MMO that wants you to have fun. What it lacks in flair, it makes up for in passion. And at least for the time being, I think this is going to be one of, if not the, main MMOs that I actually play going forwards. Thanks for watching, everyone.